visits from loved ones, and mysterious encounters, but in a good way. All this and more on this episode of Real Life Angel Encounters. Angels, we all have them. They're our unseen guides, our companions, our teachers, and they're all around us. Sometimes they make themselves known in the most miraculous ways. Join me, Level 3 QHHT practitioner, angel communicator, and Reiki master, Christy Clemens Hoffman, with stories from real people who have experienced uplifting phenomena and real-life angel encounters. Hello and welcome back to Real Life Angel Encounters, the award-winning podcast for those who like their paranormal with a huge dose of positivity and their spirituality with actual spirits. I am Christy Clemens Hoffman. I am your host. I am angel communicator, Level 3 quantum healing hypnosis technique practitioner, and Reiki master based here in the Kansas City area. So glad to have you here. If you are a new listener, welcome. We're happy to have you. And if you are a regular listener, thank you so much for following this show. So before we get too much further, I have a few asks of you. First of all, please do share this podcast. Share this episode. Tell your friends, your neighbors, show them how to find this show on their device. And tell everybody that you know about the great content that you find here. You'll see how it pays off in this episode. And then next, I would love it if you would give this podcast a thumbs up, a 5 stars, a like, whatever it is on whatever platform you're on. Heck, write a little review. It doesn't take much, 5 words. That's it. Also, if you would subscribe or follow or whatever it is on whatever platform that you're listening to right now, that way you will be notified when a new episode comes out every other Tuesday. Yes, that's right. We are a bi-weekly, I think that's what you call it, podcast. And then finally, this podcast is free for you to listen, and it will always be free for you to listen, but it is not free for me to produce. So there is a link in the show notes. If you could float a couple bucks, doesn't take much. It really adds up. There's a PayPal link there that you can make a small gift to one of your favorite podcasts. Why not? Also, did you know there's a Facebook group? Yeah, there's a Facebook group, Real Life Angel Encounters on Facebook. And you can join the conversation there with other listeners and share your stories, because I'm always looking for stories. All right. Without further ado, on with the show. Enjoy. And now we have JJ in Lawrence, Kansas, a local girl, to tell some of her stories, including some family visits. Hi, JJ, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. It's good to see you again. We met at Poetic Underground months ago, like last year.
I know was it November?
It was November.
Yeah.
Oh, and now we're here, our July, and getting to this interview. So happy to see you again. So you had some exciting stories. Where do you want to start?
Oh my goodness. Dreams and
Yeah.
pictures and dreams.
Yeah. Lay it on me.
Yeah. My grandmother used to say that dreams are just mixed up time, and that made sense to me, and it continues to make sense to me.
Yeah.
A lot of times there are parallels with what I dream and what happens within the following days.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I've had like premonitions of deaths happen
Ooh.
before.
Yeah.
There
In
was,
dreams.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Well, the first one was a rat named Pippa. I had a dream about her, and the following day she died. But more recently, within the last couple years, I had a dream that someone died. In the dream, my father was talking to me, and he was telling me that my boy died, and I fell into a grave, and I was just devastated. And
Hmm.
he was talking about someone I was working with or had worked with before. And so the following day, I was looking up to see if that person, if something had happened to them. And as I was looking up to see if that person had died or been injured, my partner came in and said, Liam Payne from One Direction died. He fell off his balcony.
Oh my gosh.
And my dad knew me to be a One Direction fan when I was in high school. If anyone were to tell me that someone died from One Direction, it would be my father. So that's when I realized that I get premonitions.
That's fantastic. And how often do they come?
Not that often. The only other one I had was my ex husband's grandmother. The dreams are strange. They don't tell me directly who dies. They just tell me that someone dies, and it's like kind of this area. So, like with the grandmother, I had a dream that an old boss was telling me that a different boss from a completely different job had passed away. And she was like a matriarchal figure. And the next morning, I woke up to find out that my ex husband's grandmother had died, and she was that matriarchal figure.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Wow. Interesting. Now, you also had a story of being born on the brink. Can you
Yes,
share that?
yes. So, like my mother's mother, I was born on the brink. The difference between our births, my grandmother in, I think, 1935, was she had the umbilical cord wrapped around her neck twice.
Oh, no.
And everyone was worried about her mom because her mom wasn't doing well. And this nurse, an angel of a nurse, had the sense to save the baby. And this was during the Great Depression. And so when her mom found out that she was pregnant, the doctor right away offered an abortion. She's like, no, I'm keeping my baby. And then when the baby was dying, no one cared except that nurse saved her, saved our line. I wouldn't be here without her. And then in my birth in 94, I wasn't breathing. There was no reason. I just started tanking and I wasn't getting enough air. And my mom and my aunt, they used to kind of like spice it up for me a little bit or tone it down a little bit. They didn't tell me how severe it really was, but they would say that I sounded like a baby bear. I was just grunting.
Oh,
And
oh,
the doctors and the nurses were sticking needles in me, trying to get an IV, trying to get me some sort of medication. I'm not sure what. And they were going to stick one in my head. And then, for no reason at all, I started breathing again.
wow.
There's no reason why, but I was born dying.
That's intense. Now, you mentioned your grandmother. Yeah, your grandmother had been born that way.
Yeah.
Had she already passed before you were born?
No, she's still alive.
Okay. All right. Wow. Born in 1935 and still alive today?
Oh, I'm so sorry. She's passed now, but for my birth, she was still alive.
Yeah, at that time. Remarkable. This happened with my great nephew. My niece didn't even know she was pregnant until she was having stomach pains. And
Wow.
does that sound familiar to you?
No, I just love those stories. Please go
Isn't that
on.
interesting?
Yes.
She didn't know she was pregnant until she had gone to the emergency room with stomach pains. And this kid just started coming out with the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck. Had to take
Oh,
her to, yeah, isn't that amazing? It was a miracle. I think
yeah.
he was determined, hey, I'm in trouble here. I need to come in now.
Oh my.
And was
Oh
spent a few
my.
days in the children's hospital in ICU, of course. An interesting story. It's amazing any of us make it alive into life, right? Because there's so many things that can go wrong in birth. And
True.
in your case, who knows? Who knows what happened?
I believe there's a link between being so close to the brink and
Right.
continuing that closeness in life, if
Yeah,
that makes any sense.
absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you also had a story about your grandfather visiting you.
Yes. Oh, my grandfather. Yes. So he passed away when I was 16,
Oh,
and I felt like I didn't get to say goodbye because I didn't get to say goodbye. And he came to me in a dream. I was coming out of this building down the stairs. It was kind of like a courthouse building, like something you'd see in Topeka. And I was going down the steps and I saw him, and he looked just like I remembered him before he got ill. And I hugged him, and I knew he was dead. That's the thing in the dream. I knew he had died. And I said, Grandpa, what are you doing here? Why are you
I,
here? Why
how
did you
is this
get here?
possible?
Right? And he held me by the elbows and he said, I love you. I have to go now. And hugged me again, and he went up the steps, and I felt at peace. I felt at peace with it. I got to say goodbye.
Wow. What was the timing around when he actually did pass?
Oh, it was within a few months because it was before my grandmother, my dad's mom, died. So his wife, they died 6 months apart.
Yeah.
And it was so strange. Her death was an accident. So there's some strange synchronicities there. But it was before hers. So within 6 months, but I want to say within like the first three, it was not very long after.
So you knew that he had passed.
Yes, yes. I knew he had passed. I just felt like I didn't get to say, I love you and goodbye.
Yeah, yeah. So it takes about 3 months for the soul to completely transition to the other side. So
Huh.
yeah. So he may have been coming forward just to say, yeah, before I really go, I mean, not that they go anywhere, but like while I'm closer, I'd like to say goodbye.
That is exactly what it felt like with him going up the steps and saying goodbye and like crossing over.
Ah,
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
yeah, yeah. And it takes the soul about 3 months to come into the body when we're born as well.
I've heard that the soul goes in and out of the body.
Until it finally just stays.
That's amazing.
Same thing when we pass, and we'll notice people on their deathbed, if they get a chance to, have that death experience rather than a sudden death
Mhm.
experience, right? Then we'll notice our loved ones just being in and out of the body until it is time to pass. But then once they are out of that body, it does take about 3 months for them to completely transition to the other side. And with babies, we notice that the baby is alive. They're crying, they're wiggling, they're moving around. But about 3 months, they seem to inhabit their body,
Yes.
right? They
Yeah.
really like show their personality and can
Like
be
come to
more.
life.
Yes, they do. They pop out. Yes.
Is
hmm
that an integration reason? Is that just like slowly integrating into the body and out of?
I believe so. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Right. And then when we go to a memorial service or a funeral, especially within that first, few months, they're always there. Our loved ones would never miss that. I've never been to a funeral where I haven't seen the dearly departed.
Uh,
Mhm.
I saw my friend Hannah at her funeral,
Oh,
not while I was there, but on camera after. I could see her and I felt her when I was there. It, like
did.
she hugged me. It was like ice cold, like bone cold, like going into Lake Michigan. So cold. And it was her. I know it was her.
Wow. Isn't that beautiful? Wow.
We do hang around. They are there.
Yes. Yeah, they are. They are. And we'll often hear of within days of our loved one passing that they will appear next to our bed, or we'll just get some sort of message from them. It's like, wanted to let you know I'm okay. I'm all right. I made it. Beautiful story. Do you have any other stories you'd like to share?
Oh, I have one more. My grandmother came and visited me, my mother's mother, the one also born on the brink. She
Yeah.
didn't speak to me though, and it was very crowded where we were at. It was like we were in a school. I was in the school in the dream, and passing period began. And I saw my grandmother, but she looked about 30 years old. And she's beautiful. She's tall, she's beautiful. And again, she held me at my elbows just like my grandfather did. I said the same thing. What are you doing here? How did you get here? And she didn't say anything. She just smiled at me and kind of like shook her head, like knowingly, like, oh, you just wait and see. And then it was like we were separated and she disappeared in the crowd. And then in the dream, I went to my friend and I said, I think I just saw a ghost. And I woke up.
Oh my goodness. How did you
And
feel?
I felt it's so hard to explain, but I felt this like sense of purpose to solve this mystery, that there was something there that needed to be looked into. And I think maybe that really started my interest in spirituality and in spirit and energy. And, maybe I'm not cuckoo crazy. Maybe, this is real. And it is. So that I think was in 2018. And I've had quite the crash course since.
Really? What do you mean by that? Crash course?
Oh, just with my Reiki attunements, I got all three within like a 6 month period, and I would not recommend that to anyone.
No, no,
No,
I
I'm
wouldn't.
I'm still recovering
That's a lot.
a
I'm
lot, but
surprised your teacher would, yeah, I'm surprised your teacher would allow that, but
it is what it was,
right.
and I'm here. It brought me on my journey.
Absolutely. So, what you mentioned about your grandmother appearing 30 years old, that is so typical. On the other side, we typically present ourselves as when we were on top of our game, when we were strong and vibrant and beautiful.
That's incredible.
Hmm.
You'll
Hmm.
see me on the other side in my early 20s.
I'm sorry,
I said, you'll see me on the other side in my early 20s.
right? I had a great butt back then.
Me too.
And it's interesting, you said your grandfather appeared to you as if before he was sick. So
Yeah.
kind of the same thing, probably older than his prime, but it's whenever we feel we're at our prime.
Yes. I almost wonder if he did it as a way for me to recognize him because I don't think I would have recognized him at any younger age.
Yeah. I was wondering
Um,
about that with your grandmother. She showed up as 30 years old-ish and beautiful. Did you still know it was her?
I knew it was her because I'd seen pictures of her younger.
Yeah.
She looked like how she looked in her wedding photos, except she was not wearing a wedding dress whatsoever. It was almost like very plain clothes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yes, there is a film and a book called, I think it's Heaven is for Real, about the near-death experience of a young boy. I think he was maybe 5 or 6. And after this near-death experience, he was telling people that he had a friend up in heaven who was very kind to him and put him on his lap and was just very gentle and explained things to him and talked to him and just wondered where this friend went. And he said the friend told him he was his grandfather. And his father said, "Oh, that couldn't have been your grandfather. Your grandfather was very old and died before you were born." But then they were cleaning out the garage or the attic and came across some old family photos. And the boy saw a photo of his grandfather as a young man and said, "This is him. This is my friend." And the dad said, "Oh my gosh, that is your grandfather when he was a young man." And I need to read that book again because it's just so magical how they
That's
show
such
up for
that's such a surreal, eerie experience.
us. Well, honestly, when I'm on the other side, I don't want anybody remembering me old and sick.
Oh, I don't either. I don't either.
Mm-mm. Well, but JJ, these are beautiful stories, and you definitely have a very strong connection with your family and your loved ones on the other side. Anything else that you can think of? Anything that's important or interesting to mention?
Oh, not that I can think of off the top of my head,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I'm
Well,
sure
if you
there's
do
something.
have more stories in the future, be sure to reach out. We would love to have you back.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm happy to see you again and take good care and stay angelic.
Thank you. You too.
And now we have Debbie from Independence, Missouri, who heard about this podcast from her friends. So let that be a lesson to you. Please do share this podcast, share this episode with your contacts. You know, somebody who's got a beautiful story to share. Tell them, hey, you really should go tell this story on Real Life Angel Encounters. So it works. Hello, Debbie. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi.
You've got some beautiful stories you submitted on our online submission form. And then we were just talking about a couple of more. I mean, you've really had many, many, many. So, what would you like to start with?
Well, I want to start with the oddest one. I was 2 years old. I was getting my tonsils taken out over at a hospital that's closed now. I think it was probably Baptist.
Oh, yeah.
And I was out on anesthesia and actually coded on the table
Oh,
and was gone for a couple minutes.
mm-hmm.
And I floated above my body, could see and hear everything that went on in the operating room.
Mm.
I didn't know how to describe it because I was 2 years old. I went through the light tunnel that's described, and this was in an age where you don't hear those stories. No one has said anything about angels to you or
Mhm.
dead people because they think you can't comprehend, right? And I
Mhm.
didn't really comprehend it when it happened. I just was like, oh, well, this is what it's like when they take your tonsils out. But as I floated through this tunnel, at the end was my father's father, who'd been dead for 7 whole years before, or possibly more. I think it was 1960 when he died. I wasn't even born yet. I wasn't even an inkling in someone's pants yet. I was born in 67. So I floated above, went through this tunnel, and unbeknownst to me, the kind man who had me sit on his lap, actually pet my head, tell me it was wonderful to meet me, but it was time to go back now. And he had a slight Russian tilt to his voice, a little bit of an accent. And years later, I told my dad about the experience, and he's like, yeah, that's exactly what the color of the walls were like, the crib, the hospital crib you were in, etc. I mean, it was down to the T. And he was one of those skeptical people. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure how to unpack this. So after he's long since dead, his sister sends me some artifacts from his life. And one of them is his naturalization paperwork that shows that he was doing a name change in 1938 to get the ski part off of his name because it sounded too communist and Russian. And he was a Jewish refugee who left to get away from the Cossacks and the communists because Jews were not allowed to even have property in the Pale of Settlement.
Yeah.
And they were in Belarus before they came. So they were escaping the pogroms
Yeah.
of the Pale in all that part in Eastern Europe that other Jews were experiencing, and they wanted to live. So he and his sisters came over in the 1910s sometime. And I was amazed when I looked at that picture and I knew what I was dealing with.
Yeah, you knew it was
Like,
them.
okay, it was him. And oh my gosh, how do I unpack this either?
Right.
So then years later, I have what they call anesthesia awareness again, and at least float above my body.
Wow. And what do you
And
remember from that?
the people talking and the saw actually going because I was getting a knee replacement.
Oh, wow.
And they all said, yeah, you were gone with the anesthesia. We didn't see any time you were awake.
Right. Did you have any visuals with that like you did before?
No, I didn't. I just found it strange and I found people talking in the background. And
Mhm.
then when I got to past recovery and in my bed, that's when I heard dead relatives talking, like my grandmother and my grandpa Thad. And my grandmother is like, Thaddeus, look what they've done to our poor Deborah.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, I must be on really good drugs.
Well, this to me, it proves the power of our consciousness that
Yeah,
your conscious mind is out of the way, but your unconscious, the unconscious part of you, is registering what's going on. Well,
yeah,
especially with the visuals that you had at 2 years old, you saw these things and could describe them later. Well, that is definitely your consciousness being outside of your physical body at that point. I think
yeah,
this goes to prove what consciousness is and what it can do. And that's not necessarily connected to our brain, our
yeah.
waking mind. Yeah, these are powerful. Did you have any other stories?
Yeah, I had just lost someone close who was like a mother to me. And I like to grow things with hydroponic lights and a hydroponic tent. And I had a light fall. It should have fallen right on me and broken.
Oh, wow.
It didn't. It fell straight up instead of straight the way it should have been if it were attached.
Mm-hmm. So it went up.
It didn't go up, it just kept like that when
Okay.
it should have gone higgledy piggledy and went straight down to the floor gently,
Oh my God.
as if someone placed it down, knowing it would have popped me on the head and broken with pieces of glass and possibly injured me and busted up a $400 light.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's as if Roberta Lichman she had just passed. And it's as if she gently, or my friend LaShawn, who had been squished in an automobile,
Mm,
that it's as if one of them placed the light
yeah.
on the concrete floor.
My
And
goodness.
it wasn't carpet it was falling on. It was falling on the floor of a hydroponic tent, and it should have, by all counts, broken into pieces
Mm-hmm.
because it was 6.5 feet up and glass.
Wow. Wow.
And that was weird. It was if someone was protecting me.
Yes.
Someone who cared about me deeply was protecting me.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. You know, it reminds me of a story on season 1 of this podcast. Mara had this antique door leaned up on the landing of her stairs. She had stairs that had landings, going upstairs. And this
Right.
heavy antique door was leaned up against the wall. Just when she moved in, that's where it went, and she couldn't lift it by herself to move it anyplace else. So she's going upstairs in the middle of the night, and this door starts falling on her. And it was something she could not lift or move. And she was thinking, no, 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 do not fall on me. But she grabbed it. And then all of a sudden, it felt like somebody was helping her move it. And she was able to pick it up and move it foot or two against the wall again. And so, yeah, in times like that, it's unmistakable when we have that help.
Yeah.
That was cool. Any
Yeah.
idea who that might have been for you?
I thought it was my family friend, Roberta Lichman. And I went to high school with her son, babysat her daughter, and she had just passed recently.
Ah,
And I'm just disabled and had had some times where I could barely walk.
mhm,
And her headstone ceremony, when they got her plaque back and everything, I couldn't throw a stone on there. I had to like hang on to her son's car
mm,
and, sit down on a seat
mhm,
in his car with the door just open so I could be there and be a witness to it.
mhm,
And right before she'd passed, like a couple days before she passed, I visited her, and I didn't know that I'd had a stuck stone. I just knew that my gallbladder had exploded
ooh,
during surgery to remove it.
mm,
And I had been infected all over and was still on antibiotics,
mm,
had a big surgical brace on when I went to visit her. And this is someone whose liver was failing. She could barely talk
mm,
and couldn't really move her hands,
mm.
right? She was swollen with toxins from a failing liver.
Oh,
She had NASH.
Nash?
Yeah, like non alcoholic cirrhosis.
Oh, yeah. So you feel that that was her that helped you
Yes,
out in
I
that way.
really do.
Beautiful.
Because right before she died, she managed to put out her arms, which was
Mm,
practically physically impossible.
mhm,
And it took her 15 minutes to get out some words,
mm,
but she said the words you were so sick.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And I told her before she passed that I loved her to
Right.
the moon, and it took her, and
Mhm.
I'm tearing up at this point.
Yeah.
It took her 5 to 10 minutes to squeeze out something, but she managed to say the words ditto,
Yeah.
the word
Wow.
ditto. And that was powerful in itself because she could move. And
Mhm.
she was the closest dad at the time.
Yeah. Wow.
And she was a big support system.
Wow. So she sounds like she would be a great candidate to have done that
Yes.
miraculous event. Yes, great, great story. Thank you so much for sharing these stories. We always are looking for people who have remarkable stories to tell. And it doesn't have to be an angel with wings. It can be you're going to be smashed by a light that's falling
Right.
the ceiling. It can be an out of body experience you have. It can be a visit from a loved one. It does not have to be an angel with wings. And many of our callers don't actually believe in Christianity or any other faith that would include angels. So it's not like people are religious in that way, but people who do believe that otherworldly beings exist, our loved ones exist on the other side, and we have an unending stream of help. And you had another story about your grandfather. Can you tell that?
Yes. It's not as deep as the other ones, but my grandfather had passed within the last year and a half at the time. I was a teenager. He passed when I was 11. I didn't get to see him pass. And I had always had a little bit of guilt trip that I couldn't go there. So
Mm.
I was asleep in that house and I got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And all of a sudden, I saw my grandpa, the outline of a man first in the shadows. And then I realized that it was my dead grandpa.
Mm.
And he didn't say anything. He didn't do anything. He just stood there. But it was like he was trying to tell me, I'm okay.
Hmm.
I'm okay on the other side. It's okay that you didn't visit me.
Yeah.
I know you were just a kid.
Hmm. Yeah. As a medium, I talk with people's relatives that have passed, and that is often what a regret that people will have is that I couldn't be there. I wanted to be there, but for some reason I couldn't. And the loved ones always come through and just say, "It's okay. I know you weren't."
Yeah.
So, yeah. Wonderful. Again, thank you for telling these stories. And they are very, very helpful for any of us who doubt, who feel like we're alone, who feel like we don't have any support. So I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
We're not crazy.
We're
No,
not
you're not
crazy.
crazy. You're not crazy. Thank you so much for being part of the Real Life Angel Encounters. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe and follow, and be sure to share this episode. The more people who know about this podcast, the more great story submissions we get. Have a story to share? Email your own real life angel encounter to angelencounterspodcast@gmail.com or visit radiatewellnesscommunity.com/real life angel encounters podcast. Or join our Facebook group and continue the discussion. Want to know what your angels and loved ones have to tell you? Schedule an appointment with me at radiatewellnesscommunity.com. A special thanks to James Wheeler for the original music and to Tiffany Baumgarten for the logo design.